Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. Now, European countries have agreed on an unprecedented emergency plan to reduce gas use amid a Russian squeeze on supplies. Russia's Gazprom says it'll cut flows through its Nord Stream 1 pipeline to Germany, a move Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has dubbed Russia's gas war. Now, this is extremely worrying news for the EU, as many nations in the bloc rely on Russian gas for energy. So, energy ministers have agreed to voluntarily reduce consumption by 15% from next month. The deal also includes a possible union alert, which would enforce reductions in gas use in the case of shortages or high demand. But Brussels has left the door open for member states to request exemptions under certain conditions. Nevertheless, the disruption in Russian energy supply threatens to trigger a recession, just as Europe is recovering economically from a COVID-19-induced slump.
We have to be ready for the possible supply cuts from Russia at any moment. And to be ready for that, we have to act right now. We have to take care of our preparedness. We have to tackle this crisis right now and together.
Germany is the largest importer of Russian gas and likely to struggle the most. So how are Germans reacting to these enforced cuts? Sybil sent us this report from Berlin.
Less air conditioning, more open windows. German offices and households are on energy-saving mode as the country is suffering a serious gas crunch. Today, EU officials have widely agreed on cutting their gas use by 15% until March next year to prepare for a shutoff of Russian supplies. The EU Commission, which accuses Moscow of using energy as a weapon, says the targeted reduction is voluntary for now. But if Russia turns off the taps entirely, it can be legally enforced across the bloc. Here's what Germans think. While most are calling for solidarity and unity to not let Moscow destabilize Europe or taking it with humor, others are criticizing the decision, accusing politicians of being liars and now forcing citizens to save energy instead of having acted earlier. One Twitter user is comparing the current situation with George Orwell's dystopian 1984 fiction novel.
It's 10:30. We have to save energy for the war that serves peace. Electricity is now being turned off. Good night, comrade. Big Brother is watching you.
Our next story, the Pope has given a long-sought-for apology over the Catholic Church's role in widespread abuse at Canada's residential schools. The pontiff traveled to Canada to ask for forgiveness from Indigenous residential school survivors.
I am deeply sorry. I ask for pardon for the ways in which, regrettably, many Christians supported the colonizing mentality of the powers that oppressed the indigenous peoples. I am sorry. I ask forgiveness, in particular for the ways in which many members of the church and of religious communities cooperated, not least through their indifference, in projects of cultural destruction and forced assimilation promoted by the governments of that time, which culminated in the system of residential schools.
Pope Francis took responsibility for the Church's role in carrying out the Canadian government's much criticized assimilation policy. The aim of the residential schools was to assimilate Indigenous groups into mainstream society, which Canadian authorities at the time considered superior. Some of the traditional ceremonies held after the pontiff's apology have gone viral. The Pope's apology to the First Nations, Métis and Inuit people have come after ground-penetrating radar located hundreds of unmarked graves at residential schools last year. Now, for years, many had called on the pontiff to apologize for the Catholic Church's role in operating 70% of residential schools in Canada. An investigation by the specially set up Truth and Reconciliation Commission had called the system cultural genocide. It also unearthed other startling statistics. From 1881 to 1996, more than 150,000 Indigenous children were separated from their families and brought to 139 residential schools. The landmark Truth and Reconciliation Commission's investigation in 2015 found that abuse was rife. Many children starved and were beaten for speaking their native languages or practicing traditional customs. Sexual abuse was also rampant. Officially, 4,120 children died while in the care of the schools, but authorities say the real number of fatalities is likely much, much higher. The commission in its report acknowledged that the true number is not likely ever to be known in full. Calls for an apology from the church intensified over the past few years, especially so after the remains of hundreds of children were discovered on residential school grounds. While the apology has been lauded by many Indigenous groups, some say it's not enough, as it stops short of holding specific people accountable for abuse, even though many of the perpetrators at this point are likely deceased. Reporter Anna Mailer-Paperney pointed out that the Pope's apology didn't mention the Church's 15th century doctrine of discovery, which justified the dispossession and colonization of Indigenous people. Anna also spoke to a survivor who criticized the pontiff for not using the word sexual abuse and questioned why the church brushed over the issue. Last week, we showed you disturbing pictures from a Sesame Street theme park in the U.S. During a character parade at Sesame Place in Philadelphia, a costume character from the famous children's show ignores two black girls. After the video went viral, more people have been posting similar footage shot at the theme park. In these videos, you can see the characters ignoring the outstretched arms of children. Families say there is even more evidence of racism and have demanded racist staff to be fired. Sesame Place has apologized, saying a staff training program will be conducted. As you can imagine, those incidents have made a lot of people angry. Stars like Kelly Rowland and Whoopi Goldberg have expressed their support for the little girls and the discriminated families. Twitter threads show clip after clip of Sesame Street characters acting either completely unaware of minority children or being downright rude to them. So a boycott has been called against both the theme park and the TV show for the racism. People want action to be taken.
What? Now we said hug, not shove.
Lawsuit.
Hug, not
Lawsuit.
shove. Now this is the
Lawsuit.
worst. Look at this. This Bert don't slap the person. Bert done slap the baby. Bert slapped the baby. Bert slapped the baby.
Boycott Sesame Street.
Finally apologized. I said, my bad. We ain't
I'm
do that.
boycotting Sesame
What's
Street.
going
No
on?
more
And
Sesame Street in
was
my
like,
house.
we don't even work with them like that.
Nope, no more Sesame Street in my house.
I don't know what world in the year of our Lord 2022 where mascots for children are racist. So much so that they actually have to undergo bias training after unacceptable treatment of black children.
Meta has been criticized for its new Instagram updates that many say are trying to imitate TikTok. I'm sure you noticed the changes when you open Insta this week, but here's a quick look at what they look like.
We're going to now have one video format on Instagram. We want Instagram to be simple and easy to use, and so all videos moving forward on Instagram are going to be Reels. And that doesn't mean that every video has to be a dancing video or a lip-syncing video, but it means that when you create a video on Instagram, you'll have access to all of those tools. So there'll just be one video format on Instagram, and it will be Reels. There are a number of other updates coming to Reels as well. The first of which is templates. So if you go to the Reels tab and tap on the camera, at the bottom you'll have a templates option, which will show you a bunch of different Reels ideas, because sometimes we just need a little bit of inspiration. And you can quickly and easily make a reel that's yours with your content using a format or a structure that someone else might have done that maybe inspires you or speaks to you. The second is a number of improvements to remixes. One I'm particularly excited about, because photos are so important to Instagram, is the ability to make a Reels remix from a photo, which I think is a pretty cool idea. But there's other improvements too to remixes. New formats, so picture-in-picture, green screen, and top-bottom instead of just left-right. And the ability to add a video at the end of a video or append it as another form of remixing. And then last but not least, dual camera. Because why not take advantage of all the cameras that are on phones these days?
So Instagram is pushing its Reels content to rival TikTok because that's where all the cool kids are going. Yet, Meta needs them to stay on its platforms. It didn't factor in what its user base wants, however, because no one is happy about these changes. And you know something is up when Instagram royalties like Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian speak out against Reels. Netizens are now asking Instagram to go back to its roots. Now, this post with that simple request has over 1 million likes and has been shared thousands of times. There's even a change.org petition urging the platform to listen to its creators. Honestly, I'm on board. Good luck changing Zuckerberg's mind, though. Okie doke, so look at what's trending now. TikTok is a place full of unsolicited advice. Maybe your mom being told you're holding your baby the wrong way, or being judged for feeding your cat too much wet food. But there's something for everyone, and it's particularly difficult if you're already a public persona. That's why a beautician is under attack for suggesting ways to improve Stranger Things actor Natalia Dyer's face.
We start by treating those masseters, and we all know how much I love treating masseters to help slim the face. Next, I would actually add a little bit of chin filler just to help fill out her chin and make her whole face more of like a heart shape. Next, I would add a little bit to the lips, just a little bit, nothing crazy, just a nice pout. And then we'd get in there and do a little bit of Botox. I'd give her a nice brow lift to help open up her eyes. And to top it off, we'd start working with some Sculptra. She does seem to have more thin skin, and we want to prevent that from getting thinner and create more collagen. All right, let's see what the final product would give us. Ta-da! All right, how do we like my Photoshop skills? As we can tell, her jaw is slimmer, her chin is more pointy, and her eyebrows are more lifted, and gotta love that pout.
Appalling, right? Well, netizens quickly came to Natalia Dyer's defense. People called out the TikToker and social media in general for promoting unattainable beauty standards. The beautician has since taken down the video and released another one to apologize.
I did not mean to offend anyone, including Natalia. I was simply just offering suggestions, not on what you have to do, just on what the possibilities are. As an advanced injector, that's what we do. We look at faces, we assess, and look at the possibilities, not on what you need to do or what you have to do. They're simply just options.
Ugh, that apology seems to be missing the point. And talking about dodging responsibility, a new and concerning food trend has taken TikTok by storm. The pink sauce is exactly what it sounds like. It's sauce and it's pink. But that's pretty much all we know about it. TikToker Chef Pie has started to sell the infamous, her words not mine, product after promoting it on the platform. And although many have tried it already, as this TikToker explains, it's all just a little bit sus.
The hue of the sauce keeps changing. Every photo, every video, the sauce color looks different. And also, she doesn't describe what it actually tastes like. People have purchased it and received it. They're noticing that there's a lot of stuff that's really sketchy with the bottle. The nutrition facts seem to be off. It says there's 444 servings. Some of the ingredients are spelled wrong. The website also just seems so poorly put together. Like, what is this? Why does it say this? The sauce was also arriving in the mail in these bags. They were not like boxed up with bubble wrap, and we're talking about liquid sauce here. So obviously some people were receiving them literally exploded.
Pink Sauce's creator has since spoken out and said she's working on improving the product. On a TikTok live, she implied that the sauce didn't need to be okayed by the FDA because, well, get this, it's not a drug. That caused the phrase F in FDA to trend, with netizens reminding her that the acronym means Food and Drug Administration. Customers are also encouraged to refrigerate the product because it's not sent in thermal protected boxes. Yeah, maybe don't buy into trends like that right away. And that brings us to the end of today's news feed. Find our show on YouTube and do subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and let us know what stories you're keen to see on our show. See you same time tomorrow.